My name is Katie Tremulis. I am the creator of Roadmap to Ron, which is A to Z on how to build your remote online notary business. So today what we're going to go into is my best advice for if you are in a 9-to-5 but you do want to start doing this, how to basically take the steps to start transitioning if you wanted to do this full time. I do not advocate for quitting your job without any type of experience in remote online notarization or just notarization in general. Most of us have bills to pay, so I don't advocate for the burn all of the bridges and then just go forward into this. I would rather you get your feet wet and then start getting into this gradually, because it can be very challenging. So I just want to give you a lay of the land so that way you don't quit your job and then realize that you're over your head. So what I want you to do originally or in the very beginning is 1, get your commission, 2, start learning the guidelines and the laws, and then 3, sign up for the different signing services. So I have a whole entire video and an explanation on what signing services are, which I will link in the description box below, so watch that as well. So sign up to the signing services, and then what will end up happening is that you will start getting emails and text messages into your email and your phone of the different signings that are available in your area. And so for that, if you do have a 9-to-5 and say let's say the order comes in and it is asking for a in-person notarization for tomorrow at 2 o'clock, you obviously can't do that. What I ideally would like you to do is reply in the bottom line, not available, but you can negotiate. So for almost all of the signing services that will send out work requests, you can put in, type in that you're not available, but you're available after 6 or something like that. So I would try and let them know that even if you aren't available at the 2 o'clock time, there's still room for negotiation, because there might not be any notaries that are available at that time, especially if you live in a more rural area. And so when the signing service is looking through to see the responses of who's available and who's not, they're going to be able to see that you're an active notary, but you're available at 6. So they might reach out to the signers and say, hey, I can't fulfill the 2 o'clock, but what about 6 o'clock? I can send a mobile notary out to your house at 6, and then we can get that closing taken care of. So that is something that ideally I would like you to do. And then the other thing is that when you are marketing, so there's signing services that you would want to market to, but then there's also direct. So direct is going to get you the most money. It's the way that I advocate for all the time, because the signing services are well and dandy, but you don't get the full cut because you're not the one that's doing the marketing. You don't do the fulfillment, you don't do the scheduling. So there's a lot more that goes into the signing services, but you don't get the whole thing. So it can be a little bit more intimidating, but I do think that if you can do office visits, do cold calling on your time frames off, like I did it during my lunch breaks. So there is a certain amount of grind and uncomfortable, like being super uncomfortable and being very awkward and not really knowing what to say. I will tell you that in my course, I do have a breakdown of how I've been able to go into different title companies and land work. And then the framework of what I do each and every time that I go into a title company or a law firm, what I do, what I say. And then I also have the common objections. So you're going to get hit with rejection. That's just something that happens. And I have seen it enough that it's like there's 3 major ones that I go into within the course. But in general, I would want you to market. And then if you wanted to eventually move it to full-time, I would not leave your job until you are consistently turning down enough work to sustain your bills and your job. So don't replace your job until you get a new one, basically. And so the thing that you want to do in the meantime, so let's say you're at a 9-to-5 and you are getting work in, ideally I would like you to, especially if this is for remote online notarizations, Ideally, I'd like you to work with another remote online notary that might have more availability than you. And then if it's through direct, so if it's through a title company, still be able to say that you can fulfill it, and then just have another notary help fulfill that notarization for you. And so I go into that also in my course about how to collaborate with different notaries. But ideally, I don't want you to turn away work, because you've done all the work with the marketing. You've started to build that relationship, and to turn down that work, it can mean that they can never call you again. And so that is not ideal. So when you do start getting emails in and inquiries about how this works, and, you know, can you go over this with me, and can you do these types of things for like this time frame, just say yes. And then, you know, if you need to, you can reach out to me at Katie at Notary SWFL for if you have a signing that's coming in that you need to source another remote online notary. I do have a network, and I can recommend you, or you know, we can figure something out. But in general, work with another notary, so that way you're offloading the work until you can do this full time, or, you know, you just take a cut of whatever it is that you are sending out. So it is a little bit of work, but I do remember I went from 5 jobs down to 1. So that was nice, because 5 jobs is not as fun as just 1. And it was a lot of different juggling, and there's a lot to think about. But I do think that if you just hit marketing really, really hard, and then start learning the ropes and just jumping into it, because there's a lot of doubt that is easy to stop you in this, and you just kind of have to be like, shut up and do it anyway. So like getting into the title companies, doing your first cold calls, doing your first notarization. The other thing that I want you to do is set up on, like, this is all in the course, but in general, I want you to get set up on a scheduling system, a website. You know, set up your Google My Business page, because that is going to get you organic traffic. And then that way you can use that money to buy better training, do better marketing, you know, learn different things and invest in courses, or, you know, go to that event. So I think that that has been really, really helpful. And if you want to reach out to me directly, if you think that this is helpful and you want to work with me a little bit more closely, it's Katie at notaryswfl.com. Just put it under training for the subject line, and then otherwise join my group, and you can go ahead and follow me over on Instagram. It's just Notary SWFL.